Hello learners, I am Dr. Uma Singh and today I shall be discussing a very important chapter in accounting, that is depreciation accounting. So, let us begin with the first part, that is dealing with the meaning of depreciation. Depreciation is an expense charged during a year for the reduction in the value of fixed assets arising due to the normal wear and tear or obsolescence. So, normal wear and tear is because of use and passage of time, and obsolescence is due to the change in technology, fashion, taste and other market conditions. So, there are two causes of depreciation. One is the normal wear and tear and the second is obsolescence. So, normal wear and tear can be due to the usage and due to the passage of time, whereas obsolescence can be due to the development of improved equipment or due to the change in fashion, style or the market condition. So, first let us understand what we mean by the normal wear and tear. So, normal wear and tear of the asset could be because of usage or because of passage of time. So, because of usage, every asset has a life for which it can run, produce or give service. Thus, as we put the asset to use, its worth decreases and this decrease in the asset is what is referred to as depreciation. Similarly, it could be because of the passage of time. So, as the time goes by, the elements of nature, wind, sun, rain, etc. causes physical deterioration in the worth of the asset. So, second cause is because of obsolescence. Obsolescence can be because of development of improved or superior equipment, or it could be because of change in fashion, style, taste or market condition. Now, due to development of improved or superior equipment, sometimes fixed assets are required to be discarded before they are actually worn out due to better and improved version. For example, steam engine became obsolete with the arrival of diesel and electric locomotives. Second obsolescence could be because of change in fashion, style, taste or market conditions. So, obsolescence may also result due to decline in demand for certain goods and services with a change in fashion, style, taste or market condition. As you can observe, we were using this earlier phone initially. Now, this has been replaced by our mobile phones and iPhones. Now, we shall learn about the objectives of depreciation. So, there are two objectives of depreciation. First is to show the true financial position of the business and to retain funds in the business for the replacement of the asset. So, let us now understand the first objective, that is true financial position of the business. As we know, fixed assets have an effective working and depreciation is this gradual loss in the value of the fixed assets. If depreciation is not provided, profit and loss account will not disclose the true profit made during the accounting period. At the same time, the balance sheet will not disclose the true financial position as fixed assets appearing in the balance sheet will be overvalued. The second objective for depreciation is to retain funds in the business for the replacement of asset. The amount of depreciation, which is a charge on asset, is kept aside every year in the profit and loss account, thus enabling the business to use this accumulated funds every year after year to replace the worn assets with the new one. So, these are the two basic objectives with which depreciation is provided. Now, we shall understand the factors affecting depreciation. So, cost of the asset is the purchase price of the asset and it includes all such expenses which are incurred before it is put to use. Second is the useful life of the asset. Useful life of the asset means it is the expected number of years for which the asset will remain in use. The third factor affecting depreciation is the scrap value. scrap value is the residual value at which the asset could be sold to the scrap dealer after its useful life, and Hindi we call it as kabadi. The fourth factor is the depreciable value of the asset. So, depreciable value is the cost of the asset minus the scrap value. So, the depreciable value of the asset is calculated as the cost of the asset minus the scrap value. A generator was purchased for 5 lakh, rupees 1500 was paid for the crane for its loading, rupees 7000 was paid for transporting it to the factory, and rupees 2000 was spent on its unloading at the factory. The generator was estimated to run for 10 years and thereafter it would be sold for rupees 60,000. So, we now calculate the depreciable value of the asset. So, first thing is we shall calculate the cost of the asset, which includes the purchase price, that is 5 lakh rupees, and plus all the other cost that has been incurred to bring the asset to its operational form. So, first is expenses on loading for rupees 1500, transportation for an amount of rupees 7000, expenses on unloading rupees 2000, and the sum total of this comes out to be 5,10,500. So, this becomes the total cost of the asset. In the question, we are given the useful life of the generator, that is 10 years, and scrap value also defined as rupees 60,000 in the question. So, the depreciable value of the generator would be the cost of the asset, that is 5,10,500 minus the scrap value, which is rupees 60,000. So, we get an amount of 4,50,500, and this becomes the depreciable value of the asset. Now, generally we follow these two methods of charging depreciation. First is the straight line method and the second is the diminishing balance method. Straight line method. Under this method, the amount of depreciation is uniform from year to year. So, that is why the name straight line. So, the amount of depreciation that you are going to charge would remain same, it would remain constant. So, this method is also called as the fixed installment method or the original cost method, and the depreciation that is to be charged each year shall be calculated by using the formula cost of the asset minus the estimated scrap value, that this total is divided by the number of years of expected life. Now, let us take an illustration to calculate and understand how the amount of depreciation is calculated. A machine was purchased on 1st January 2011 for rupees 1 lakh and its useful life is 10 years. After completing its useful life, the machine will be scrapped and nothing will be realized from it. That means there is no scrap value. It is decided to charge depreciation on this machine at 10% per annum on the straight line method. So, calculate the amount of depreciation for each year during the useful life of this machine. So, the useful life of the machine as defined in the question is 10 years. So, we shall start from the year of purchase 2011 up to 10 years. So, that ends at 2020. Rate of depreciation is given as 10%. The method of charging is straight line method of depreciation. So, in the first year, the amount of depreciation shall be 10% of the cost of the asset, that is 1 lakh rupees. So, 10,000. Similarly, in the second year, again the amount of depreciation would be constant as we have to use the straight line method of depreciation. So, again the amount of depreciation shall be 10% of the original cost, and that again is 10,000. So, likewise for all the years up till the end of the 10th year, that is 2020, the rate of depreciation is 10% and the amount of depreciation to be charged would be 10,000 each year to the asset. Now, coming over to the next part that deals with the merits of straight line method. First merit is that it is a simple method. So, calculation of depreciation under this method is very simple, and that is why it is more popularly used. Also, the amount of depreciation remains same, making our calculation simple and easier to understand. And you have seen it in the earlier example also, that the amount of depreciation does not change from year to year. So, it saves our time to calculate the amount of depreciation every time. Second merit is asset is completely written off. So, under this method, the book value of an asset is reduced to net scrap value or zero value. That is, in the books of accounts, the value of the asset at the end of the useful life is equal to 0 or its residual value. But then it also suffers from certain limitations, which are: first is difficulty in computation, especially when there are various machines having different lifespans. The computation of depreciation becomes complicated, as depreciation on each machine will have to be calculated separately. Second is, it is illogical. It is also well known that the expense on repairs and maintenance increases as the asset becomes older. Thus, the total burden on profit and loss account, depreciation plus the repairs expenses, is more in the latter years in comparison to the earlier years. So, sometimes it becomes illogical. Now, we shall take an illustration to understand how the amount of depreciation is charged to the profit and loss account, and also calculate the rate at which the depreciation needs to be charged. X Limited purchased a machine on 1st April 2014 for rupees 1 lakh, whose life was expected to be 10 years. Its estimated scrap value at the end of 10 years was rupees 10,000. So, from this you have to find the amount of depreciation to be charged to the profit and loss account every year, and then also calculate the rate on which the depreciation is to be charged every year. Now, let us understand how the calculation of the amount of depreciation is done. So, the annual depreciation to be charged to the profit and loss account shall be calculated by using the formula cost of machine minus estimated scrap value divided by the estimated life of the machine. Cost of the machine given to us is 1 lakh rupees, estimated scrap value, so minus 10,000, which gives us 90,000, divided by the estimated life of the machine, which is 10 years. So, 90,000 divided by 10 years, that gives us rupees 9,000. So, this shall be the annual amount of depreciation that will be charged to the P&L account. Second is calculating the rate of depreciation. So, rate of depreciation is equal to annual depreciation amount into 100, since it has to be in percentage, divided by the cost of the machine. Annual depreciation we just calculated, that was rupees 9,000 multiplied by 100 divided by the cost of the machine. So, that is given in the question as 1 lakh rupees. So, this comes out to be 9%. So, the rate of depreciation that we are going to charge is 9%. Now, next we shall understand how the depreciation is recorded in the books of accounts. So, let us take an illustration. Salman and Usman Bros acquired a machine on 1st July 2012 at a cost of rupees 70,000 and spent rupees 5,000 on its installation. The firm writes off depreciation at 10% on straight line method. The books are closed on December 31st every year. Show the machinery and depreciation account for 3 years. So, we shall prepare the machinery and depreciation account from 2012 to 2015. So, let us understand how we have to solve this illustration. Cost of the machine is 70,000, cost of installation is 5,000. So, the total cost of the machine shall be taken as 75,000. Rate of depreciation provided is 10%. So, the annual depreciation that will be charged would be 10% of the cost of the asset, which is 75,000. So, the annual depreciation comes out to be rupees 7,500. So, this is how the machinery account would be prepared. This is a normal ledger account. So, we shall start with the date column first on the debit side. On 1st July, we purchased the machinery. So, we must have made the entry in the journal as machinery account debited to bank account. So, to bank account amount was 75,000 and we have to charge depreciation on 31st of December. So, 31st December we charge depreciation. So, by depreciation account 75,000 into the rate of depreciation, and since it was acquired in the middle of the year, so we shall charge depreciation only for 6 months. So, that turns out to be 3,750 and we shall close the account on 31st December. So, by balance carried down the balancing figure, which is 71,250, and we close the account. Similarly, when we move on to the second year, that is 2013, as on 1st January, the balance would be brought forward from the previous year. So, to balance brought down 71,250, and then again on 31st December, we shall provide the depreciation. So, by depreciation account 75,000 into 10 divided by 100, that was 7,500. So, this is the rate of depreciation that we are charging on the total cost of the asset. So, 7,500 is the amount of depreciation to be charged, and again we close the books of accounts on December 31st. So, by balance carried down 63,750 and we balance on both the debit and the credit side. Then we move on to the next year, that is 2014. Again the balance which is brought forward from the year 2013. So, 1st January to balance brought down 63,750, and again on 31st December we shall charge depreciation, and the amount of depreciation under SLM, it remains constant same. So, again 7,500, and similarly we close the account. So, balance carried down to an amount of 56,250 and we finally balance the debit and the credit side. Now, we come over to the depreciation account. So, in the depreciation account on 31st December 2012, when the first amount of depreciation was provided, so to machinery account, and the amount we calculated in the machinery account, that was 33,750. Now, this has to be transferred to the P&L account with the journal entry profit and loss account debited to depreciation. So, on again 31st December by profit and loss account 3,750 and this gets closed. So, there is no balance carried down. Similarly, in 2013, the amount of depreciation charged in the machinery account was to an extent of 7,500. So, again to machinery account 7,500, and again on 31st December we transfer this to the P&L account with 7,500 and both the debit and the credit side balance out. Then we move on to the next year, that is 2014. So, again to machinery account the amount remains constant at 7,500 and again we transfer it to the P&L account by 7,500. So, this is how the calculation is done and the depreciation is charged to the various asset account. Next method of charging depreciation is the diminishing balance method. Under this method, as the value of the asset goes on diminishing year after year, the amount of depreciation charged every year, that also keeps on declining. The amount of depreciation is calculated as a fixed percentage of the diminishing value of the asset. This method is also known as the reducing balance method or the written down value method. Now, let us take an illustration to understand how the diminishing balance method works. A machine was purchased on 1st January 2011 for rupees 1 lakh and its useful life is 10 years. After completing its useful life, the machine will be scrapped and rupees 4,000 will be realized from it. It is decided to charge depreciation on this machine at 10% per annum on diminishing balance method now. Calculate the amount of depreciation for each year during the useful life of this machine. Now, we shall understand how the amount of depreciation is calculated by using the written down value method. So, from the year 2011 to 2020, as the useful life of the asset is 10 years. In the year 2011, the rate of depreciation is 10%. So, the amount of depreciation shall be calculated as 10% of the cost of the asset, that is 1 lakh. So, 10% of 1 lakh turns out to be 10,000. Similarly, in 2012, the rate of depreciation shall remain constant at 10%, but now the amount of depreciation shall be calculated as 10% of the written down value of the asset, which is 1 lakh minus the amount of depreciation, that is 10,000. So, the value of the asset in 2012 is 90,000. So, 10% of 90,000 gives us 9,000. Similarly, in the year 2013, again taking the rate of depreciation as 10%, but the reduced value of the asset shall be 90,000 minus 9,000, which turns out to be 81,000. So, 10% of 81,000 gives us 8,100. So, likewise we shall compute the amount of depreciation up till 2020, and as you can observe that the amount of depreciation keeps on diminishing year after year, whereas in the case of straight line method, this amount of depreciation was constant at 10,000 for all the 10 years. So, this is how the amount of depreciation is calculated under the written down value method. Now, merits of the diminishing balance method. The very important merit is that there is an equal burden on the profit and loss account. The productivity of the asset is more, hence its contribution to the profit is also relatively greater in the initial years. Therefore, the cost charged in terms of depreciation in the initial years is greater in latter years. Depreciation charges are less and the repair expenses are more. Hence, the total burden, that is depreciation plus repair expenses, is somewhat equal on the profit and loss account for each year. But again, it suffers from certain limitations. The first is the asset cannot be completely written off, and you have seen for yourself in the illustration that even at the end of the useful life of the asset, the amount of asset was never reduced to 0. So, under this method, the value of an asset is not reduced to 0 even when there is no scrap value. And then of course, the second disadvantage is that it is a complex method. Since under this method, the rate of depreciation cannot be determined easily, and also the amount of depreciation is not consistent, it keeps on changing. So, therefore, it is a relatively complex method of calculating. Now, we shall take an illustration on the written down value method to understand how the charge of depreciation is taken on the fixed asset account. Whitsun Enterprises purchases plant and machinery for rupees 1 lakh on 1st October 2012. It decides to write off depreciation 20% per annum on the written down value method. On 1st January 2015, it purchases additional machinery for rupees 40,000. So, you have to show the machinery account up to the year ending 31st March 2015, and the accounting year ends on 31st March. So, the cost of the asset is 1 lakh rupees and it is purchased on 1st October. So, please mind the date, which is very, very important when you calculate the depreciation. The date is not 1st January, but it is bought in the middle of the year on 1st October 2012. Amount rate of depreciation that is charged is 20%, and we are going to follow the written down value method, and also additional purchases are made during the year 2015 on 1st of January. So, now we shall understand how the machinery account would be prepared. So, now we shall understand how the depreciation would be recorded in the plant and machinery account. So, this plant and machinery account is prepared in the ledger books. So, on the date column we shall write the date of purchase of the machinery, and the date is very important. So, on 1st October we bought the plant and machinery and we made the journal entry as plant and machinery account debited to bank account. So, to bank with the amount 1 lakh rupees. Then the depreciation is to be charged as per the accounting year. So, we on 31st of March we shall provide depreciation, but the depreciation has to be provided only for 6 months, that is from the date of purchase, that is 1st October to 31st March. So, that is 6 months, and the amount shall be calculated as 1 lakh into the rate of depreciation. So, 20%, so 20 by 100 and into 6 months, so 6 by 12. So, the amount comes out to be 10,000, and we shall close the ledger account. So, by balance carried down 90,000. Then in the next year this balance would be transferred. So, on 1st April 2013 to balance brought down 90,000, and again on 31st March we shall provide for depreciation. So, by depreciation, and since we are following the written down value method, so the amount of depreciation shall be calculated as 20% of 90,000. So, 20% of 90,000 calculates to 18,000, and then we close the account and we calculate by balance carried down, which comes out to be 72,000. Next we shall learn about distinguishing the straight line method and the diminishing balance method. So, the basis of the dissimilarity is, first is the basis of calculation. Under straight line method, depreciation is calculated on the original cost of the asset, and in diminishing balance method, depreciation is calculated on original cost in first year and on written down value of the asset in the subsequent year. And you have seen also in the two illustrations that we took for straight line method and the diminishing balance method, that the amount of depreciation under straight line method, it remains constant, it remains same for all the years, whereas the amount of depreciation keeps on reducing year after year under the diminishing balance method. Under straight line method, the book value of the asset can be reduced to 0, whereas in diminishing balance method, the book value of the asset can never be reduced to 0. Under straight line method, the combined cost on the account of depreciation and repairs lower in the initial year and remains more or less equal or higher in the later years, whereas in the diminishing balance method, the combined cost on the account of depreciation and repairs remains more or less equal throughout the period. So, these are the 4 bases of difference between the straight line method and the diminishing balance method. So, this was all about depreciation chapter, and in this chapter I hope you have very well and thoroughly understood about the concept, the causes of depreciation and the objectives of providing depreciation, along with the methods of charging depreciation, and through the illustrations I hope you have also understood how the depreciation is to be charged in the various books of accounts and also the preparation of the fixed asset account. Thank you.